Good morning. Day after Thanksgiving. Just got back from this place. Picked up two of these bad boys. It seems that I am turning into the guy that put the 212 and everything. That's what it appears like. So next stop is Taco Clone. Get the 212. More will be revealed. So the good thing about having kind of some of the same engines is that, brand new engine, right? First thing I did after I took it out of the box, turned it upside down, and I took out the jet, the standard jet from here, and I have I think it's a number 38. Sorry for the bad view. And I'm going to put that jet, which is a little bit more fuel, which will go with the fuel filter I have in the pipe. So before I even put this on the engine and start trying to, work on it, when it's more difficult, before I even put it in, it's like you're turning the engine upside down, take off this little dude with a 10mm bolt, and change the jet. So that's the first thing I'm going to do before I even attempt to disassemble some of the other parts, like the air cleaner and the pipe, and put it on the engine or on the frame. Okay, this is a good time to show you. Now that I removed the air cleaner, this particular air cleaner, it just has two 10mm nuts. I think some of the bigger engines might have another nut or bolt that comes in from the top, but this one just has a two. Be careful not to yank everything apart because there's two hoses here that are connected to the air cleaner. This one right here is a breather hose for the valve cover. Some people with the hot engines, they run a oil catch can, I guess because it maybe spits out oil from here. And then this hose is a breather hose from the gas tank. And so on the 212 Mega Moto I kind of use as a dirt bike, I put a filter on here and I put a filter on the gas tank as well. Probably on this one I'm just going to put a filter on the air or the valve stem, and then maybe leave this one dangling. I'm not sure. A couple other things while I'm in here. This screw over here, I'm going to take this all the way out because that's a throttle stop, right? That's a throttle stop. So people loosen it, I just take it out. Another thing I learned from watching the Grey Goat Garage is this little washer right here, is that take that all the way out, because what I was told is, the throttle, here's a throttle lever here, is that these things are meant like to run a cement mixer or power wash or something like that. Steady, steady. We're trying to run this, as a mini bike or go-kart or whatever, running the engine up and down, up and down. And so removing this little black washer here, that will enable this to run freely. Okay, so I'm going to do the two things here. Take out that screw and take out that washer and put everything back together. Then kind of set this in the frame and see how it goes. I think I need to buy some bolts for the engine mount, but that's okay. That's the next step. Okay, so I went ahead and tightened the motor mounts, the 4-engine mounts, right? Those are 8 by 125 by 40, whatever bolts. Doesn't really matter what you use. Chain came with it. My least favorite thing of all is mess with the chain, and this thing's pretty close. It might, when it runs, it might tap, but the chain's gonna probably get loose anyway. So when I put the mount on, or when I put the engine on, I allowed for a lot of room. Where can you see that? Over here, a lot of room to move it forward. So I did is I put it pretty much all the way back, the engine all the way back. Took 3 or 4, actually even number 4 links out of the chain, and then put the chain master link on, put the link on, I think going the right way, the master link. And then as the chain stretches or gets loose, I have plenty of room. I've got at least a 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch or something. I can slide this forward. And the gas cap, it doesn't matter that, once you take it off, you can get the nozzle in there to put gas in there, blah, blah, blah. So on to probably the pipe and the air cleaner. Okay, now you can see that I put this stud in here, and I used the two nuts backed up against each other, both to back out the original stud that came with the bike and to put in this new stud. And I put in, it came with lock nuts, which is nice. I put those on there. I tighten them down snug, because you don't want air leaks here, because the bike won't run well. And but you don't want to break this stuff, because if you crank this thing too hard, here comes the street sweeper. If you crank this thing too hard, you'll probably strip this out, right? Stuff is, it's strong engine, but it's not that strong. If you get on there and start putting, standing on the goddamn wrench or something like that, you're gonna have a problem. So then what I'll be able to do is put the air cleaner on there, and I always just to build a preference, I usually rotate it back so it's sort of out of the way instead of sticking out in the front, and so I'll put that on, then I'll work on the pipe, and that's on to the next thing now. Okay, she's looking pretty good. I got the pipe on there. It has this mount that came with it, and I don't know how it's supposed to bolt. Maybe, I think that at Go-Kart USA they use a lot of Titan engines, or I've seen them use Titan engines, so maybe the bolt pattern, where this bracket would bolt to is better. For now I have it zip tied. It's held on real good with the two bolts here at the header. This is added support so the thing doesn't fall down. Nice and tight here. So this is just to kind of keep its strength, a little bit of strength. I'll probably pull this zip tighter at some point. But I got that done. And I got to tighten up the cable, as I talked about. Sorry for the weird angle here. Got to tighten up the cable. I did put on the air cleaner like I talked about. And I did put on the valve cover breather hose filter. How's that? And I got to go back to Home Depot to get some bolts later. Okay, so how did I get the taco cover on here, right? That you saw. How did I get that cover on here? So what I did is I got a little Azusa chain guard, right? Bolted it on, and then put a little mark here, right? And on the taco cover, I had put a piece of tape, right? Put it on here, adjusted it without the bolt there, of course. Got it, leveled it where I wanted it, and then I marked the tape, drilled a hole, and then I just put that bad boy on there like that. And so I know it clears. Well, I'll tighten that with a wrench, but I know it clears because the Azusa chain guard, it clears the chain and the clutch. And so by bolting this on top of that, and that way I have this thing on here underneath double nutted so that the bolt stays in place, and I just take this off with one simple lock nut. So that's how I put the taco cover on this bad boy. Okay, here's the unholy mess I made in my house the last 7 hours or whatever. 7 hours, yeah, 7 hours. A couple trips to Home Depot, but no significant problems. Okay, so tied up the cable, throttle cable, and the pipe is kind of doesn't stick out straight, but that's the way it wants to lay. That's the way it wants to lay. And even got the old taco cover on it, man. It's not a taco, but man, it's a taco clone. Had to borrow some bolts off the Megamoto too, but we ain't talking about that right now. I'm going to clean up my mess and maybe put some oil and gas in it, ride it around, test it out.